Today I'm going to have a little bit of fun with one of my favourite tops, and I'm actually wearing one of them today as well, coincidentally actually, and it's this top. It's the Rowie top and dress from Style Arc. We're going to focus on the top version, and I've got 4 of them I want to make, so let's see how long it takes me to create 4 versions of the Rowie top. Hi there, I'm Christine the Gemini Stitcher, and welcome to my sewing space. Yes, today I'm going to be doing a little challenge. I'm making the Rowie top from Style Art Patterns, and I'm doing a bit of stash busting with my jersey scrap fabrics. Well, they're not scraps, there's about 1 metre of each one at least, so they're been in my cubbies. So if I get these done today, that's 4 fabrics out of my stash. Winner, winner. So let's have a look at the fabrics first of all. I've got this plain, it's a washed out green, isn't it, fabric, and there's a good metre of that, so I think that'll make a great layering Rowie. The second fabric I've got to make up in is, it's a cream but it's got a blue fleck in it. Really soft, and I think that will work really well with the pleats and particularly the gathers at the waist and that drapey neck. Interested to see how that one turns out, and cream goes with everything, doesn't it? So that one will get worn a lot. The third one is a stripy cotton jersey, so I'm interested to see how a stripy pattern works with the pleats and the gathers at the side. Now normally with a stripe I try and pattern match the sides, but because of the gathers I can't, and I don't care. We're just going to cut it out and go. And this 4th one has been in my stash for the longest of times. It's a blue abstract spot, little dots all over it. A lovely denim blue colour. Don't know why I've not used it. So we're going to make a Rowie in this. Now it depends how much of each fabric I've got, whether I do the sleeveless version, a short sleeve version which I've not done before, 3/4 or long sleeve. So they'll all have different sleeve lengths on them, so it's one pattern 4 ways. I've not cut any of them out yet, as you can see. So before we start, I'll give you a few tips on how to handle jersey fabrics. So what are my tips on jersey fabrics? If you've never sewn with jersey before, certainly choose a good quality cotton jersey. It will be easier to handle and build your confidence up. And to be quite honest, I prefer cotton jersey a lot of the time to viscose jersey. It's just a personal thing. So always pre-wash your fabrics. I know this is controversial with jersey, but I pre-wash all my fabrics, and I do it because I thought, because of the chemicals in the fabric, I have sensitive eyes, and if I'm sewing for any length of time and I've not pre-washed, my eyes start getting sore. But somebody also pointed out when I was talking about fabrics the other day and handling them, that you should always pre-wash all your fabrics because you don't know where they've been stored. They're stored in warehouses for a lot of times sometimes, particularly the dead stock that we buy, and there are lots of lovely creatures live in warehouses, aren't there? The worst nightmare for me is rats. And to think that I would be sewing with something that had potentially, not saying it would, potentially had rat urine on it, makes me gip. So pre-wash your fabrics for a lot of reasons and stay safe. Because let's face it, it could make you really ill, and you wouldn't relate it to your sewing, would you, if you got a tummy bug? But it could have come from your fabric. How weird is that? So that's tip number 1. Now, when you're cutting jersey out, always make sure you've got all your fabric on the cutting table, so not hanging over the edge of the table, because that can stretch the fabric out with the weight and distort your pattern. So if your fabric's longer than your table, roll it up at one end and leave it on the end and unroll it as you go, rather than hang it off the end. Tip number 3 is when you're cutting, I don't use pins for jersey fabrics, I use pattern weights. Now these are the quilted bear ones. I think I've got 2 sets in here, so 12 pattern weights is enough for me to cut out with. So I use pattern weights. It helps to not distort the fabric, again, because when you're putting the pins in, you can stretch it and it might go out of shape. The next thing is I use my Guggenheim scissors. They're really sharp, so make sure you've got good quality scissors. You could, I suppose, use electric scissors, but I only tend to use my electric scissors when I'm doing heavy fabrics. So decent cutting scissors, or you could, if you're clever that way, cut them with a rotary cutter. I've never tried cutting with a rotary cutter. Let me know if you prefer it and why. It's just, I'm a scissors girl. So let me know, are you a scissors girl or are you a rotary cutter girl? I'd be interested to find out where everybody is. So we've got the pattern cut out. They're the tips I'm giving you for now. When we come to do the sewing, I'll give you some more tips. So I'm going to go and get these fabrics cut out and ready to go as Rowies. See you in a bit. Now, this next one, I've cut one out. We're all good to go. Sleeveless, that's all I could fit out of the blue dotty fabric. This is a stripy fabric and it's going to be sleeveless as well. I think they all might end up being like that, to be honest. I've not got as much fabric as I thought. But because it's stripes, I'm cutting it out in a single layer. So I cut the first half of the front out, don't cut down the central seam. Take the pattern weights off, fold it over on itself, match up the stripes, put the pattern weights back on and then cut the other half, and I'll do the same with the back. So I had a little bit more of the stripy fabric than I did the spotty, and I've done the cap sleeves in this one, which I've not tried before. So looking forward to see how that looks on the Rowie. Now, you may have noticed when I'm cutting out, I don't move my fabric around. I'm very lucky, I've got a cutting table. I got it from Amazon and I will pop the link below if you're interested. It's actually come down in price and I believe you can get one now for about £80 odd. Bargain. So I don't move the fabric, particularly with jersey, because it stretches and it moves. So don't move your fabric once you've placed your pattern pieces on and you're ready to cut out. Move yourself around the fabric, even if you're cutting it out on the floor. I know it's hard rolling around on the floor, I've been there, but you have to get up and work your way around the piece of fabric, not move the fabric. It will make your pattern pieces distort. So that's the cream one cut out. Again, I've managed to get cap sleeves on it. I did a bit of Tetris with this one. and instead of folding both ends into the middle, I started at one end of the piece of fabric I had, folded it over enough to get the front piece out, cut that out, then folded it again to do the back piece. And if you're short on fabric, it's a good way of making it go just a little bit further. Okay, slight problem. There isn't enough of the washed out green to even get the front and the back bodice sleeveless version out of the Rowie, but I do want to make 4 of them. So this is going to have to be made into knickers, into the scrap bin. But I found this. It's a rib knit, not a cotton jersey, and I've probably got about 1.5 meters of it. So I'm going to have a look and see if I can do the long sleeve version of the Rowie in this as a lightweight pullover, top, jumper, whatever you call it, for the autumn. So we're still going to make 4 tops, and we're going to make the long sleeve one as well. So I've got all my pieces cut out now. Just to refresh, I'm making 4 Rowie tops. One of them is going to be sleeveless. 2 of them are going to have the cap sleeves, and now one of them is going to be long sleeved in this autumnal green colour. So the big decision now is, do I use the overlocker or do I just use the sewing machine? I'm gonna use both. You need the sewing machine to do the tucks on the shoulder and do the gathering stitches that are down the side, and then I'm choosing to use the overlocker because it finishes the seams off. If you've not got an overlocker, you can still make the Rowie. You can do a stretch stitch or a zigzag stitch for your side seams. Because it's jersey fabric, it doesn't fray, so you don't need to finish your seams. Or if you do want to finish your seams, you can use pinking shears, but I think I'm going to use the sewing machine and the overlocker just for speed. The other reason I want to use the overlocker is on some of them, or one of them at least, I want to try a lettuce hem. So I'm going to do different hem options. I think I'm going to do a lettuce hem on one. On one we'll do the normal hem and cuffs. I might try the wave stitch, my latest craze, on one of them. So yeah, a few different hem options that I'm going to be trying as well. So I'll get everything set up. The first thing that we've got to do is put the tucks in the shoulders and do the gathering stitches for the side seams. So I'll get that done on all of them because I'm batch sewing these, and then we'll meet back here in a few minutes, or maybe a few more than a few minutes, when I've done that stage. Phase 1 complete. So I've got all 4 of the fronts. They've all got the gathering stitches sewn in down the side, and they've all had, just grab one of them, they've all had the tucks put in on the shoulder seams. The next thing I've got to do with them all is sew the shoulder seam and up the neck as well. So I'm going to sew that on the sewing machine, and then we're going to finish the seam off on the overlocker. I also need to finish the top of the collar on the overlocker because that's going to turn in. Okay, we're getting there-ish. So I'll give you a little update of where I'm up to. They've all had the shoulder seams done and finished. I've finished the neckline. I've turned the neckline in at the notch, which is about that much, and then stitched in the ditch to hold that neckline down. So then before I sew the side seams, I'm sewing the sleeves in or finish on the sleeveless one and finishing it round on jerseys. I just prefer to put the sleeves in the flat. It's a personal choice. So I've done that for this one. I've got the 2 with the cap sleeves to do and the seam on the sleeveless one. And then the front is longer than the back because we've got that gathering stitch to do. So I'm then going to clip it all the way round, cinch in the gathers, and then I'm just going to whiz that round on the overlocker. Then I just need to decide on my sleeve and hem finishes. Wow, that was a sewing marathon and a half. I've spent 5 hours sewing and got 4 tops. Almost finished. There's just the hems to do. And I'm leaving that for another day because I want to have a play around with my different hem finishes on my cover stitch machine. So let's try the tops on, because sneaky information, 3 were a win and 1's an epic fail. So let's find out what went well and what went wrong. Top number 1 in the Ditzy Dots navy blue, denim blue. Absolutely love this one. Loving the fit. Really like this a lot, and it's going to get worn a lot as well. Now this is the first one that I made, and I realised because of the drop sleeves I've ditched the cap sleeve option because it would have ended up sort of like that, and because these are cotton jerseys I was worried it was going to stick out and look a bit Star Trekky, if you like. So loving the neckline, obviously, because I've made the Rowie before. Like how it fits. Just need to decide on the hem on this one. So this is a cotton jersey from Little Legs fabric, been in my stash for yonks, so now it's made up in a day. Fabulous. Top number 2, all finished in the stripy cotton jersey fabric. Again, nice neckline on it, like the finish on the shoulders. Loving the ruches in the old midriff area. Yeah, I just love the Rowie top. So that's another win. This is one that should have had cap sleeves on, which would have brought them down to here. Let me know if you think I should have put them on. I ditched them in the end. I prefer this sleeveless version. So top number 2 is a win. Rowie top number 3, all finished. A little bit looser, this cotton jersey, so it's not showing the drape as well, but still like it. Another win. And last but definitely not least is the epic fail. Now this is the top that should have been done in a cotton jersey, but I didn't have enough, so I rummaged around in my stash and found this lightweight rib knit jersey and thought, oh yeah, I'll make a nice long sleeve top in that. So just went all gung-ho, never thought about the fact that it's a lot more drapey and a lot more stretchy, and same size pattern, the exact same size as the cotton jersey, and we all know different fabrics work differently. Massive under the arms, sleeve heads, it's a drop sleeve, yes, but it's a bit too much of a drop. The others are here, this one's down here, like halfway to my elbows. It's just too big. Now I am going to rescue it like I do. I'm going to take it in at the sides all the way round there and all the way down. There's nothing I can do about this unless I take the sleeve off, and they've been overlocked, so to be quite honest it isn't happening. So we're going to have a super drop sleeve, but then this will get taken in so that it's more like that, not that, and the sides will be taken in a bit, and then it'll be a really wearable top. But I'm being open and honest today, it did not work first time out of the bag. So there we go. I have made 4 Rowie tops. One of them needs rescuing, the one I've got on, but then it will be great for the autumn and winter. And I've got 3 sleeveless ones, and I love all of them. All I need to do is decide on the hem finishes, which I'm going to look at tomorrow, and then I'll reveal what hem finishes I did on Friday, when I'm going to show you everything that I've created in the month of July with my daily vlogs. So I'm off now. I will see you tomorrow, and there's a special guest appearance tomorrow. Yes, Steph's back, and we're not watching the sewing bee tonight. It's going to be really hard, but neither of us are watching it, and we're going to film our reactions tomorrow. Because you all enjoyed our vlogger bee so much last week, we're going to do another one tomorrow. So see you for vlogger bee tomorrow. Happy sewing.